Hi, and welcome to Real Life with Jenny. My name is Jenny Senaparatna. Grab your favorite drink and a snack, and we will get started. Today, I am drinking hot chocolate because it is cold outside in Minnesota, and some chocolate chip cookies from my grandmother's recipe. Yum, yum. I needed some comfort food today. So today, let's get real. So today I am going to be talking a little bit about my story. October is the month of infancy and pregnancy loss awareness. And they say 1 in 4 women deal with pregnancy and infant loss, which is so heartbreaking. Just that statistic in general should break your heart. And in my perspective, I have a lot of people in my life that have had loss of infants and pregnancy and many other things, many other losses. So it seems a little bit higher than 1 in 4. I'm currently wearing some Color Street nails from a pastor's wife friend that represent this awareness of infants and pregnancy loss. They are adorable. I will have a picture of them on my Real Life with Jenny Facebooks and my Instagram. Anyway, they are super cute. So that's kind of the highlight of this is my super cute nails. But I wanted to share my story with you. Many of you know that I have one child. She's 13 years old. She's wonderful. I would not trade her for 1,000 other little girls. But there's a real lot of pain and agony in my life that not a lot of people know about. I mean, it should be apparent because I have one child. And if you know me, you know I love kids and I love being creative and I love just everything about children is something that I just adore. I love babies. Oh my goodness gracious, their little cheeks and their little toes. I just love them. Anyway, I know they grow up and they become teenagers, but they are so cute. So I was married at the age of 20, a nice young bride. And we started out in ministry and life was going along. And, you are kind of blissfully living life when you're first married, which was wonderful. And I remember all of my friends started having babies, because a lot of my friends got married around the same time, that kind of happens, and people were having babies, and I was not. So I went to the doctor, and we started having some conversations, and long story short, my doctor was like, yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to have children. And so at that time, the devastation, and still the devastation was really hard, that I was one of those infertile people. I was not able to conceive a child. So we talked a little bit, I talked to the doctor a little bit about different treatments we could do and in vitro and all those kind of possibilities. And the doctor was really like, we can talk about them. I don't know that you're strong enough for them because my body's not super tough. I am really a very tough lady, but my body, the flesh is weak here. Let's just be honest. And so we decided that was not the route for us. We felt like that was not the route that we were supposed to go down. Not that there's anything wrong with those routes. I know lots of people that have gone down them and they've been successful and they've been people have had great success and other people have not. I just knew that wasn't the route that God wanted for us. And so we went 10 years in our marriage without a child. And I will be honest with you, those 10 years were full of devastation, full of tears, full of disappointments, full of being lost. I never knew where I fit. Even in the church, it's really hard to be a woman and not be a mom in the church. It is hard to find a place to fit. So for those of you looking for a place to fit, I want you to know God's got a plan for you that is unique. And just take that and try to find something uniquely that you can do. I just remember feeling so alone. And every month I had hope, because I am a woman of faith. I have like, God can move this mountain. You go. Woohoo. Faith is something that God has given me from a very young age. And so every month I was sure this was the month. Like, I was always like, this is the month. We did everything right. I haven't had caffeine this month. I have been eating everything right. This is the month I'm taking the right fertility, like supplements and anything anybody ever shoved at me. I was like, let's try that. I was doing everything right. And every month the tears would come. And I would sit and go, Lord, where are you? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing that you don't want to give this to me? Am I not going to be a good mom? It's all about self-doubt for me. And so the Lord gave us Samantha, and there's a whole huge story with all that happened. And maybe someday I will share that story with you. But not today, because today is really about beyond Samantha. So we had Samantha when I was 30 years old, exactly 10 years and 2 months after we were married. And I know it's weird. I don't know why that matters to anybody but me, but sorry. So, I knew that now here's what happens, right? People deal with infertility, and then all of a sudden they start popping out babies. That's just what happens. Like, I had many friends at that point that I had been praying for that were dealing with infertility that ended up having more children. And I just knew, I was like, Lord, I've watched it. I've seen the pattern. Like, something changes chemically in someone's body, and all of a sudden they start popping out more kids. And so I was like, Lord, I'm so excited. This is going to be great. And I remember Sam she was just a year old. And I remember going, okay, God, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready. I mean, to be fair, I was ready 2 days after she was born. I was like, let's do this. Let's have another baby. And my doctor was like, woo, slow the train, lady. But I was like, let's get the babies out now, because I want a lot of them. So let's get moving. And so I remember about a year in, and Sam is just adorable and full of big cheeks and cute little toes, and just, kind of cooing and cawing, and just, oh my goodness, I love those days. And I was rocking her, and I had I don't know what they'd be called, something on my wall, a plaque on my wall. And it said something to the effect that cobwebs and dust will stay, but your baby will not always be a baby. And it was this beautiful poem, and I'm sure you know the poem. And I would rock her at night at 3 or 4 in the morning, not at 1 year old, but before that. And I just cherished every minute. But I knew that God had something bigger for me. Like, I knew that there were lots of babies out there, right? Like, come on, right? And so about a year, I was like, okay, Lord, let's do this. I have faith again. I'm going to stop drinking caffeine. We're going to, start moving in this direction. I'm going to do everything right. And once again, no babies. And then I'd get pregnant, and then I'd lose it. And then I'd get pregnant, and then I'd lose it. And then we'd go a long period of time. My last miscarriage was, oh my goodness, 6 years ago now. 6 years ago, I want to say. It all starts blurring together, because it's been 13 years. She's 13 years old. So it's been a long time. And I remember that pregnancy. I was much further along in that pregnancy. I didn't have a whole lot of faith at that point. I was kind of like, well, and then I got further and further along, and I was like, oh Lord, like, this is actually going to happen. Yeah. And I lost our baby our pregnancy baby on Easter weekend. And Easter has never been the same again for me, to be fair, because it was such a devastation. And the last pregnancy that I lost, have not had anything since then. And I think that, even though it's been that long for me, the desire is still there. And the other day at church, they had a baby dedication, and a child dedication is what they call it, where all these babies and little kids go to the front, and parents just say, hey, we are dedicating that we're going to raise our children to love God, and we're going to do our best. And we're standing in front of the congregation to say, hey, I'm standing here, and I want you to know that I'm going to try to raise my child the way I believe and the way that I love the Lord. And, and every single time I cry because I'm so broken that I don't have more children. And you're like, Jenny, you're 44. When is this, come on now. And yes, now if I got pregnant, we would all be, I don't know that any of us would know what to do, including Kevin or Sam or okay, let's start. I mean, it would be so weird, but that doesn't take away from the pain. And I'm sharing this because I feel like so often, crying a little, so often in life, we have losses that you don't feel like anybody understands. Whether it is a loss of a pregnancy, a loss of a child, a loss of a family member, a loss of a job, a loss of, we could start going down the list of the things loss of a marriage, that you feel so alone. And you feel like nobody understands. And you start listening to the lies that this is somehow correctable and it's because of something you did. And I'm here to tell you right now that life is not easy. And life is not fair. I remember when I was a little kid, that was one thing that my mom always said. Life's just not fair. I can't help you. Life's not fair. And you want it to be fair. You want it to be when my siblings were very competitive. I love my two siblings, but the three of us are super competitive. And we would have pizza on Sunday nights. I know this seems really off topic, but that's okay. We'd have pizza on Sunday nights, and we'd cut them up into squares, and we would divide them evenly so everybody had the same amount of pizza. So if one got a corner piece, the other one, all three of us got a corner piece. And we made sure it was super fair, and we split everything the way it needed to be in thirds. And unfortunately, that's not how life really is. There is nobody that's watching over to make sure you get the right amount of pizza. Life is not what we normally planned, and it's not always fun. Yes, we can find positives in the negative, and I do that a lot, and I try to laugh, but there are times in life where all you can do is cry and cry out to God and say, I am miserable. I'm miserable. Lord, do you see my heart? My heart is aching for fill in the blank for your life. And so for me, I have been through 23 years of feeling like I am less than. That I am less than the average woman. That I am less than the other moms. Being a mom of an only is not easy. I know that people think it might be really easy because there's only one, but the problem is there really is only one, and the expectations that you put on that one because you don't have others to balance, the expectations other people put on that one, the expectations you put on yourself, there's no one for them to be around but you. There's so many things that are hard when you have an only, and so many things that are hard when you have multiples. I don't know that, but I'm sure that it is difficult. We all have seasons like that. That right now, and for the past 23 years, I have been dealing with people coming up and saying things to me about how selfish are you to only have one kid? What's wrong with you? Did you think about her and her future? It's more than just you raising her. And, there's so many perceived things. I've had people earlier, not as much now that I'm in my 40s and I don't look like I should have babies. I used to have people come up to me all the time and say, "Are you pregnant?" Because I'm a larger woman, so I look like I'm pregnant sometimes. And yes, those shirts went in the trash can. I didn't even donate those shirts to make someone else feel like maybe they would look horrible. They just went in the trash can. Sorry, shirts, but it is a season. It is time for us to step outside and go, hey, just because we're Christians, just because we quote unquote do everything that we're supposed to do, doesn't mean that life is fair. And this month is that awareness. This month says to me that when 1 in 4 women are dealing with pregnancy loss and infant loss, we're all losing our babies. My babies are in heaven waiting for me that I just never got to hold. Some of you got to hold yours and had to give it back. So many of us have dealt with this. And I want you to know that we know that life is not fair. And that you're not alone. You're not alone. There are others of us who want to stand behind you and pray. So if you're dealing with this right now, I'm going to take a second. If you're dealing with this right now, please reach out to me. I want to pray with you. If you're dealing with infertility, or pregnancy loss, or infant loss, if you are dealing with any of that, please email me. I would love to put you on my prayer list and you be one of the people that I pray for. There have been many women in my life that I've prayed that wanted to be mamas that were not mamas yet. And I know that God listens to those prayers. So beyond this podcast, my life really is ups and downs. And I'm no longer going month by month feeling the disappointment of not having more kids. I am now really content with having one child. And that is, except for then you have those moments, right? That you see a baby and your heart melts and you go, Lord, why didn't I get more of those? It's not necessarily that I want one now because I'm a little bit older and I'm not sure I could keep up with an infant right now, or not an infant, a toddler. Woo! Those are fun. Praying for you who are in that season right now of toddlers. I know that we all have losses and we all have things that show us that life's not fair. And I want you to know that God loves you in the midst of life not being fair. And don't listen to the lies that you are alone and that this is your fault and that there's something that you can do, that there's a formula out there that's going to make everything better. Because there is no formula to make everything better. There is no rubbing a genie lamp and all your wishes are going to come true. That's not how life works. Unfortunately, there is no one out there to make life fair, but there is someone to stand beside you and love you and support you in whatever you're doing. And that can be the Lord, and that can be other people that are walking through the same thing. Please take some time to think about being vulnerable with someone that you trust and share your story of what you're going through, because you're going to find that there are other people going through things that are similar, maybe not exactly the same, or that just love you enough to support you and text you and check in on you, because life is not easy. You get to teenage age and all of a sudden they're rolling their eyes at you, which is not fair. Although I do roll my eyes better than she does, but that's okay. So today, if you would share this podcast with someone that you know that's going through some things, just to tell them that they're not alone. And when you share this with them, would you also say, I'm praying with you because I want you to know you're not alone in this situation. If you want to reach out to me, please do go to christconnection.cc/Jen. All of my information is there and you can connect with me there, or on Facebook at Real Life with Jenny, or Instagram. Please reach out. But know that you're not alone. And whatever loss and frustration and bad time that you're going through right now, God loves you. He loves you. He sees you. He knows what your future is. He knows the end of your story. And he's going to help you through this, and he's going to bring people beside you. So open up to someone, and I pray that they will become your prayer partner during this time. You all have a blessed day, and I will be praying for you.